Hey Joe fans, I'm John Setzler. Welcome back to the Kamado Joe Cooking Channel. For those of you that were with us last week for our Joe Talk video, we are going to get started this week on our first charcuterie project. And I'm going to be using a recipe from this book called Charcuterie, The Craft of Salting, Smoking, and Curing by Michael Ruhlman and Brian Polcyn. I'll leave a link for this book in the video description here if you're interested in this, but we are going to make some homemade Canadian bacon. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is make our curing brine, and I'm going to give you all of these measurements in metric actually here, and I'll explain why as we go. It's easier to keep the ratios correct in the metric. So I've got 2 liters of water in a stock pot here, and we're going to add 350 grams of kosher salt, 225 grams of sugar, 42 grams of our pink curing salt, and I've just got 1 bunch here of fresh thyme and another bunch of fresh sage, and then I'm going to add 2 cloves of garlic that I've just peeled and smashed, and we're going to turn on the heat and we're going to bring this to a simmer. Okay, just as this starts to get hot, and I've been stirring it as we go to make sure all of our salts and sugars get dissolved, I'm going to put the lid on this right before it comes to a boil, and I'm going to reduce the heat, and we're going to let this simmer for about 10 minutes. Okay, after we've been simmering this for about 10 minutes, I'm going to turn the heat off. We're going to take this off the heat, and we're going to let this cool to a room temperature. Okay, now that we've got that brine partially cooled, I'm going to add 2 liters of water that I've had in the refrigerator chilling to help get this going. And the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to put the lid on this, and we're going to put this back in the refrigerator to completely chill this to down below 40 degrees. One of the things you can do, and one of the reasons we're working in metrics here, you can speed this process up. Since 1 liter of water weighs 1 kilogram, you can put 2 kilograms of ice in this brine to chill it and help it get it there quicker. So we're going to put this in the refrigerator, like I said, and chill it completely. Okay, I have gone ahead and prepped. I've taken a whole pork tenderloin, or not a pork tenderloin, a whole pork loin. This guy weighed about 6 pounds, and I cut it in half. And I went ahead and trussed this guy up with some butcher's twine to try to keep it in a fairly round form. So we've got a nice piece of meat here that's roughly 3 pounds. I have trimmed almost all of the excess fat from the outside of this meat and any silver skin that was there. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put that directly into our brine. And we're just going to completely submerge that in our brine and make sure it stays, covered. And we're going to put the lid on that, and I'm going to put that back in the refrigerator, and we're going to leave it for 48 hours. Okay, we've been in the brine for 48 hours. So what I have done now is I have taken my pork loin out of the brine, and I have rinsed it off completely, and I've patted it dry with a paper towel. I've set it on a rack on top of a tray, and now we're going to put this back in the refrigerator uncovered for 12 to 24 hours, and I'm probably going to shoot for right at 18 hours on this one because that's going to work out for my time frame the best. So we'll be back in 18 hours to take this guy out and put it on the smoker. Okay, it's been 18 hours, so I'm going to fire up our Kamado Joe Classic. I've got 1 Kamado Joe fire starter cube here in the middle of my pile of charcoal, so I'm going to light that up and let this burn for about 10 minutes or so with the lid open. Okay, after we've got our fire going, I am going to set some Applewood chunks in here to generate a little bit of smoke during our cook. And we're going to cook really low today. I'm going to be shooting for around 200 degrees. So I'm going to set those in, and then I'm going to set my divide and conquer flexible cooking system right in place, and I'm going to be using the heat deflector in the very lowest position today with the grill on top. So I'm going to close the lid, and then we're going to close the bottom vent probably to no more than 3/4 of an inch or so. And on the top vent, I'm going to close the slider all the way, and I'm going to close the daisy wheel about 2/3 of the way or so, and we're going to let this guy slowly come up to, like I said, around 200 degrees. And if it starts to get too hot, I may close the bottom vent a little bit more or close the daisy wheel a little more, because we want to settle in really low. Okay, our grill is coming up to temperature. It's actually up to about 165 or 170, so I'm going to open it up, and we're going to set this pork loin that we've been so carefully taking care of for the last few days right there in the middle of the grill, and we're going to slow cook this thing. Like I said, I'm going to try to stay at 200 degrees or so, and we're going to leave it on there until we get an internal temperature in the middle of that up to about 150. So that's going to take a while at 200 degrees, so I will let you know how long it's taken when we come back to get this guy off the grill. Okay guys, we have been going for about 3 hours and 45 minutes, and it looks like I've got a late smoker there on a piece of smoking wood that's just fired up. But this guy is ready. We're up to 150 degrees internally, so we're going to take this off, we're going to let it cool, and then we're going to put it in the refrigerator overnight and let it chill, and we're going to come back and slice it tomorrow. So we'll be back to see you shortly. Okay guys, this guy's been in the refrigerator all night, so I am going to cut the truss ties from it, and then we're going to slice it apart. Okay, I've got the ties off, so we're going to cut this guy right down the middle, and we're going to have a look inside. Take a look here. This Canadian bacon has a fairly nice pink color to it, as you can see from the cure there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the slicer out. We're going to slice this guy down, and then we're going to taste it. Okay guys, I've sliced all this up, and I wish you could smell it. It smells beautiful. The applewood smoke from this is really coming through. Let's have a taste. Wow. That has a fantastic flavor. It's really nice. I sliced all of that up. I'm going to package it individually and vacuum seal and put some of it in the freezer, give some of it away. I'm really impressed. And once again, this came from this recipe in this book called Charcuterie, The Craft of Salting, Smoking, and Curing by Michael Ruhlman and Polcyn. I chose this recipe as our entry into curing meats because it was fairly easy. There's no grinding and stuffing of sausage tubes involved. So, wow, this is good. Try this at home. This is an easy cure to do. You can smoke it on your Kamado Joe and set yourself up with a really nice pile of Canadian bacon. This is what's on my plate that I sliced. I've got several pounds of it here. I had, like I said, a 3-pound or so half of a pork loin. So that's what we get out of that. A lot of Canadian bacon. So give this a try. Let me know what you think. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/KamadoJoe. Follow us on Twitter @KamadoJoe. And until next time, this is John Setzler with Kamado Joe Cooking Channel.